Okay, so I'm Selena Shen, and for my 20% project, I decided to choose anxiety because this topic is really personal to me. And I wanted to learn how exactly anxiety worked and what are the best ways to overcome it. So, starting with the basics, anxiety is constant fear or worry during daily activities. There are many different types of anxiety. There are PTSD, OCD, panic disorders, and specific phobias. The most common is the generalized anxiety disorder. Anxiety can be caused by a variety of things, such as genetics, mental disorders, and stress. Symptoms of anxiety are constant panic, sleep problems, shortness of breath, tense muscles, and dizziness. Basically, if you've ever felt butterflies in your stomach, you felt anxiety before. So you guys may be wondering, how exactly does anxiety work? And starting with the foundation, there are two main systems involved with the anxiety response. There's the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is responsible for the fight or flight response. Compared to the parasympathetic nervous system, it has shorter neuron pathways and a faster system. This system originates in the thoracic and lumbar regions of the spine. The parasympathetic system is responsible for the rest and digest response. The system originates in the bottom of the brain and just above the tailbone. Both of these systems involve ganglion, which are really important in controlling the body functions. Along with the different systems involved, there are also many different important neurotransmitters involved. A neurotransmitter are chemicals that send messages to the body and influence how you think and act. The most common neurotransmitters that are linked with anxiety are GABA, serotonin, and norepinephrine. Anxiety can be a result of an imbalance of neurotransmitters. Hormones and neurotransmitters are also closely linked, as they are both chemicals that influence the brain. An example of this is the thyroid hormone that regulates the amount of neurotransmitters serotonin and epinephrine. GABA, or gamma aminobutyric acid, is one of the main causes of anxiety. The main function of GABA is to regulate neuroelectric activity. When neuroelectric activity is slowed, the body is in a state of calm. Panic attacks happen when there is an interference with neuroelectric activity. How this works is that GABA receptors get signals from nerve cells to either stop or lower neuron activity. Too much GABA and not enough GABA are both problematic, as too much GABA results in drowsiness and fatigue, and not enough GABA results in constant anxiety. Without it, there wouldn't be anything to regulate neuron activity, and we'd be anxious all the time. Serotonin is another important neurotransmitter that is important in anxiety. Its main function is to send messages between nerve cells. Serotonin is found throughout the body, but mainly in the nervous system. Serotonin uses its messages it sends between nerve cells to regulate bowel movement, mood, nausea, sleep, bone clotting, and bone health. Norepinephrine is also considered Norepinephrine is considered a neurotransmitter if it is being released by a neuron and travels through its centers. In this case, it is released from a postganglionic fiber. But norepinephrine is considered a hormone if it is being released by a gland and into the bloodstream. In this case, norepinephrine is being released by adrenal glands. The main functions of norepinephrine are to regulate adrenaline levels and responsible for the fight or flight response. It contains a benzene ring with 2 hydroxyl groups all bound to an amine. It is kept in small amounts in the adrenal tissue, and it increases glucose levels and blood pressure by binding to alpha and beta receptors, and that trigger constriction of the blood vessels, or vasoconstriction. So, putting all of this together, this all starts when the brain sees or senses an anxiety-inducing situation. This triggers the adrenal medulla or part of the adrenal gland to release hormones and other chemicals into the bloodstream. For example, this could be norepinephrine and adrenaline. The chemicals and hormones then go to the ganglion as they shut down the organs that are not necessary for survival. Ganglia are many neuron cell bodies that contain many synapses and are found near effector organs. Target glands and muscles are also activated to either stop functioning or prepare for danger. There are both alpha receptors and beta receptors. Alpha receptors make smooth muscles contract, therefore restricting blood flow. Beta receptors make smooth muscles relax, letting more blood flow. Our digestive system consists of alpha receptors, which is why our digestive system shuts off during the fight or flight response as blood is being restricted to go there. This is also why we feel butterflies in our stomach. Our legs and other muscles are covered with beta receptors, which is why we feel shaky and why all of the blood goes to those areas to help us prepare for danger in a situation. The body's prepared to fight and protect itself. So also part of my project, I also researched the different medications that were used to treat anxiety. There are 4 main classes of anxiety medication: selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, benzodiazepines, and tricyclic antidepressants. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, its main function is to stop the reabsorption of serotonin. 2 most commonly known types are Prozac and Zoloft. Prozac is a fluoxetine capsule that increases the amount of serotonin in the brain. Zoloft also increases serotonin in the brain, but instead is a sertraline tablet. Both of these medications treat all anxiety disorders but OCD, and OCD, a higher dose is required. A serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor increases the level of serotonin and epinephrine in the brain. The most well-known types are Effector, XR, Cymbalta, and Christine. Benzodiazepines are used for short-term treatment of anxiety. It promotes relaxation and reduces other symptoms of anxiety by increasing the reaction of GABA neurotransmitters. The most well-known types are Xanax and clonazepam. Tricyclic antidepressants are similar to benzodiazepines in their function. They help with relaxation, reduce muscular tensions, in addition to other physical symptoms of anxiety. They're used to avoid the long-term usage of benzodiazepines. Although they are helpful, they are proven they can cause problems of tolerance and dependence. Most well-known types are amitriptyline and imipramine. So although these medications are all helpful, they all have a negative impact in the long term. For example, research has shown that benzodiazepines can actually cause dementia in the long term. So, and my goal for this project was to research the natural ways to overcome anxiety. So we'll go to that next. So I bet all of you guys have heard of mindfulness and meditation. So mindfulness is when our brain is in the current moment. This helps with calming the mind and not worrying about our past actions or our future actions. Research has shown that focusing on calming thoughts can rewire your brain to think that way more often. This is also known as neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is when the brain can change the way it thinks throughout one's life. An example, this is similar to muscle memory. So the best example I can think of this example of neuroplasticity is think about the way you cross your arms. If you cross your arms the opposite way, it's going to feel weird. But if you do cross your arms that way, for the same way for the next few months, it's not going to feel weird anymore, and you'll do it instinctively. This is really similar to neuroplasticity. If you focus your mind to think a certain way, it will instinctively start to think that way more often. Along with mindfulness and the neuroplasticity effect on anxiety, there is also a visible difference when meditation and mindfulness are exercised. The amount of gray matter or cortical thickness is increased in many areas. It is increased in the anterior cingulate cortex, the prefrontal cortex, and the hippocampus. The size of the amygdala is also decreased after mindfulness practice. So the anterior cingulate cortex is located in the brain's frontal lobe. Its main functions are to control the self-regulatory process, monitors external surroundings, and helps with cognitive flexibility. When our cortical thickness is increased here, it becomes stronger, which makes us more aware and more attentive to our surroundings. The prefrontal cortex is the cerebral cortex that covers the frontal lobe. The main functions of this is problem solving, emotion regulation, and planning. When this structure and area becomes stronger through meditation and mindfulness, we are better able to process our surroundings and regulate our emotion better and to control our feelings. The amygdala is the main worry center of our brain. It controls the fight or flight response and other anxious emotions. It decreases in size after mindfulness practice, so in contrast to the other parts in our brain that get stronger. When the amygdala decreases in cell volume, we aren't always on edge and worrying about something, so when this decreases, when we get worried, when this gets smaller, our worry center gets less stronger in contrast to the other parts that get stronger, in contrast to the other parts of our brain that get strong, that are in charge of our awareness and external surroundings that get stronger, which is why mindfulness helps. The hippocampus is closely related to the amygdala in its location and function. It controls the reactions and feelings and becomes stronger as there is more gray matter. It contains the amygdala and is found on the inner folds of the brain. So, what was hard for me in this project was researching specific areas, such as finding specific information on how exactly the mechanisms of anxiety worked. Once I knew what to research, it got easier for me. Another hard part for me in this project was memorizing the script, and because I'm not really good with memorization, so that was kind of difficult for me. And what went well was putting the information together, because when I gathered all the information and put it all into a slideshow, that wasn't too difficult for me. Connections to biology is the study of life, development, and evolution, and it also involves the study of the human body, and a major part of the human body is the nervous system, and anxiety is also related to the nervous system and also closely relates to development. So the main point of my whole project was basically to learn how to overcome anxiety, and as you guys learned, mindfulness is extremely effective, and I decided to close off my project, we would do a mindfulness practice.
Hi, and welcome to Headspace. So no matter what's going on in your life right now, no matter how many thoughts are racing around your mind, no matter how the body's feeling, just take a moment to sit down and take a big deep breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. As you breathe in, a sense of taking in fresh air, the lungs expanding. As you breathe out, a sense of letting go of any stress in the body and the mind, just feeling the muscles soften and relax. And close your eyes if you like to, one more, breathing deeply in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just take a moment to pause, allow the thoughts to come and go, and then just gently opening the eyes again.
So, thank you. Okay, I know I need to work on just speaking in general. I talk too fast.
Tell me more.
I talk too fast. I have too many likes, and those things. I tend to babble a lot when I get nervous, and I kind of just
Okay. So let's take a cue from that last part. Did you hear what that video was saying? Breathe in through your nose. Pause. And out through the mouth. So what I think you should do, and I think this is important, is after your sentence, pause.
Okay.
Don't worry about the time. Model what you want people to understand and how the message that you want to take away from that.
Okay.
Then go into your next sentence.
Okay.
And people will know what you are doing and appreciate that because you are modeling, you are showing
Okay.
what should be done.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
Ooh.